How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have China actually crashing the market today. I say crashing the market, even though we're up a little bit on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. You can see, though, that there's something that was said that caused us to go down about 2% in a very short period of time. Bitcoin went down as well during this time. We also just have kind of a boring year for Bitcoin, to the point where some Bitcoin analysts are even saying, if Bitcoin doesn't perform well in Q4, there's basically no reason to own it as an investment besides diversification. Like, it's not outperforming. There's really not a reason to hold a lot of it, which is really interesting. This is actually a really well-known Bitcoin analyst that's been here in the space for multiple cycles, right? So let's go through his point that he makes. I'll give you some of my thoughts on it, because I know there are a lot of people that are frustrated, right? Like Bitcoin, sure, it's up a little bit over the last year, but there are some people that are down on it. A lot of people aren't exclusively in Bitcoin, so they might be in Solana or Ethereum or smaller altcoins, and a lot of those they might be down in, right? So let's go through everything, and I'll show you what you need to know right now. If you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. Also, if you want to trade crypto, check out BYDeFi. We have a double bonus going on right now where you can trade and get up to $13,000 in bonuses. And when you deposit on the platform, you can actually get a 30% bonus up to $3,000. When you use my link, you get both of those. You can also possibly get an iPhone 17. So kind of crazy how many bonuses there are. After the crash happened on Friday, they announced that they're going to do this like double bonus. So pretty cool there. Now, the traditional markets fell down very quickly earlier. I will say they're rebounding a bit right now. But China, according to Wall Street Journal, is deliberately tanking markets to force Trump into major concessions in trade talks. I was trying to find the exact article that they're referencing here. There was an article talking about how Xi might be trying to prolong talks, so that way, like between that and the government shutdown, it forces the markets to tank and Trump has to give in. At the same time, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's been talking about China, it seems like all day today, said China can't be trusted. This is after he said some positive things this morning. So this could be the reason why we're seeing a bit of a dump. It seems like every day there's some change, sometimes multiple times a day, in what the US and China are saying about each other. I said this morning, I've been saying it for weeks, but I think a lot of this is noise and it won't be a problem years from now. So if this provides any kind of decent dips, I think they're worth buying. I actually went out and bought an individual stock today. I bought some extra of it because I think it's at a pretty good value. I can tell you what it is later in the video, but I found this really interesting today. Will Clemente, one of the two biggest analysts on crypto Twitter, maybe three, I guess, one of the top three Bitcoin analysts, he says, if Bitcoin doesn't catch up to gold and stocks by end of year on a risk-adjusted basis, it's going to be tougher to make a case for it going forward as anything more than a diversifier. Yes, its returns have outpaced from 2010, but there are no more base effects now. Basically saying there aren't a lot more users, so it's not like a lot more people are buying in. So he's saying it has to outperform in the next couple months. Now, let's look at the returns so far. So QQQ, year to date, he mentions this in the comments that he's comparing it to QQQ. QQQ year to date is up about 18%. Bitcoin, on the other hand, up about 19%. He compares QQQ actually to IBIT, because there are a lot of people that maybe aren't trading Bitcoin, they're buying IBIT instead. And IBIT's only up 14%. Now, that's kind of a big difference between Bitcoin and IBIT. It might be because IBIT started trading not on January 1st, but on January 2nd, because obviously the first of the year is a holiday. So we did move up starting on the 2nd. You can actually see we moved up a little bit, like 2.3% that first day. So when you compare it, like starting from January 2nd to now, it's up 16.2%, which still is a little bit off from 14.05. But again, when I'm looking at January 2nd here, it might not be right when the market opens. So IBIT should track Bitcoin very closely, but might be a little bit different depending on when this time specifically is showing. I hope that makes sense. but IBIT is only tradable during market hours. Now, I'll be honest, QQQ has performed really well this year. And yeah, if you could go back and if you could either buy QQQ and it's up 18% or Bitcoin and it's up 18%, QQQ has a lot less volatility. So a lot of people would rather have QQQ. However, we're looking at a very specific time period, year to date, right? So over the last 1 year, if we look at Bitcoin, it's up 70% compared to QQQ at 22.5% or 22.6%. Over the last 5 years, QQQ is up 108%, while Bitcoin is up 877. So I think just looking at just this 1 year time frame, especially when Bitcoin wasn't even like tradable the first day, and it's it's a little bit off, sure, but looking at this short time frame, I think is a bit misleading because Bitcoin trades very similar to QQQ. You can see like it peaked out in 2021, similar to QQQ, bottomed right at the same time in 2022, like within a few days, it bottomed at the same time, and since the bottom, Bitcoin has just been a much more aggressive version of QQQ. So this is up 124%, while Bitcoin is up 563. So I don't think that's the best thing to look at, just this very short time frame. And he says there are no more base effects now. I think there will be naturally more people coming into crypto and Bitcoin, but right now I think the majority of the reason that we're seeing the price go up for Bitcoin over the last couple of years is due to like large investors being able to get in and people being able to buy Bitcoin through ETF. So we might not see a bunch more Bitcoin wallets. You can see number of active Bitcoin addresses hit 944K in August. These numbers, though numbers remain affected by price volatility, like active addresses have stayed somewhat regular. Even though the price goes up, okay, maybe they go from 600,000 up to 1.2 million or something at the peak. But it's not like there are a lot of people transacting Bitcoin every day. A lot of that is because people don't see it as a currency. They don't see it as something that they want to spend. They buy it and hold it. So we will most likely continue to see more people start to invest in Bitcoin through ETFs and through retirement accounts, because now we're going to see that the SEC approved Bitcoin in retirement accounts. 401ks, for example, will be able to hold Bitcoin. I think we'll continue to get more exposure that way. And there still are a lot of investment advisors that haven't allowed their clients to start buying Bitcoin. So that will still send up the price. Keep in mind, the Bitcoin ETFs have accumulated about 1.3 million Bitcoin, or approximately 6% of the total supply since the approval of 2024. Some of this has come from individual investors, like I sold a good portion of my Bitcoin to go buy Bitcoin ETFs. There are going to be people that do that, but I think overall the net has been positive from these. There have been more people that have gotten exposure to Bitcoin because of this. There are also a lot of companies that are buying Bitcoin. Over 1 million Bitcoin accumulated from Strategy, Mara, XXI, Bitcoin Standard Treasury, Bullish. Some of these companies are popping up like just out of nowhere. So you might just hear about a new company that bought 20,000 Bitcoin. This was happening a lot over the summer, and I think this is going to happen more in the future as well, especially when Bitcoin's price reaches new all-time highs. Now, to be fair, Will is still bullish. He says, still feeling generally bullish to end of year. Typically, crypto tops out in Q4. So that's something to be mindful of. In general, though, I think Bitcoin's performed really well this cycle. There are still people that are unhappy with crypto right now because maybe they got shaken out. They're on very aggressive leverage, or even if you're just on 3x leverage on a lot of altcoins, if you're on the wrong platforms, you might have gotten wiped out. But there are a lot of people that bought altcoins as well, and they might be down on altcoins because, like I said, year to date, a lot of altcoins might not be up at all. Let's actually look at that. Let's do, can I even show it here? I guess we can see the 30-day, but it won't let me go to the year. Let's just look at Solana's price year to date. Solana is up 4%. What about Ethereum? Ethereum should be up a lot. So Ethereum investors up 20% or so. XRP price year to date up 17%. So honestly, if you are in the big caps, you've probably done fairly well. But there's a lot of volatility for something that's performing, 17% year to date. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. If you are bullish and you want to trade crypto, you can check out BYDeFi. If you're bearish, you can also check out BYDeFi because you can short the market, though I do not suggest that during a bull market. Let me know your thoughts, though. I think just in general, too, with the Fed lowering rates, with the Fed increasing liquidity, I could see a future where a lot of people sell in Q4 because we typically top out in Q4. But then the market dips and then goes back up. We see some kind of dip that shakes out a lot of people, makes a lot of people think we're going into a bear market, but we don't have the things that cause a bear market. Right? Usually there's that cyclicality, or there's some reason for it. There's RSI hitting new highs, hitting 90 or something on the daily, or there's the Fed increasing rates. But right now, the economy is good. There's lots of spending. There's a lot of reinvestment in companies, good company earnings. The Fed's lowering rates, the Fed stopping quantitative tightening. And we could see a massive fake out by the market. That's the question. That's what so many people are wondering. And right now, Bitcoin has underperformed in October. The first time that we've seen a red October. Now, keep in mind, the month's not done. We're halfway through. But the last 8 years or so, 7 years, we've seen green months. Anywhere from 5% to 44%. So we could turn around, go green, then go green again. And then, we could top out sometime in this period, or maybe everything gets pushed back and we just see a lengthened cycle. Because right now, this is the least the post-halving year we've ever gone up. Let me know your thoughts, though, underneath. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.